I always feel that her talks are very straight to the point, and they inspire to keep the fight going. And she emphasized listening to the science. And just last November, over 11,000 scientists declared that planet Earth is facing unequivocally an emergency because of the climate. And that's what I hope to see as well, that we start acting in accordance with the situation and with what the science is telling us to do. There's been so much going on, but what I spotted was talk about future and legal framework. For example, Global Climate Action was one event where they were talking about pathways to reach the 1.5-degree goal of the Paris Agreement and divided the pathways up by sections. So transport, industry, and etc. and actions on how you reach the goal with these sections in mind. So that was very interesting for me to see that there are actually actions that we can start implementing. And there will be some necessary, maybe, legal framework that has to change because of that. And the IPCC event was also interesting in that there are some legal frameworks and regulations that might be promising to solve the problem of climate crisis. And then when corporate accountability was talked about, it was a narrative of we need to bring the big polluters to court, we need to bring them to justice, and governments can do that. So there was a lot of legal action talked about that day, which is very interesting to me, being a law student. I really appreciate the events in Stockholm, and I think the connection to Madrid has been working out really well. The events have varied, and the tone of the discussions has varied in each event. For example, the event on Monday that young people and ministers were part of was maybe a bit more positive than the next event, where there was actually discussions on droughts and the effects that it's already having on people all over the world. So it's interesting, and there are many different perspectives coming to light. If I were to travel ahead and be as optimistic as possible and think that everything we wanted to see happen has happened, I would direct my thank you speech to the young people who've been rising up this past year, because before the voice of young people became the leading voice in these discussions, that we weren't doing enough. We still aren't, but maybe we will be. So my thank you speech would be directed at those people.